Ubisoft Montreal, made by Call of Duty developer Mark Rubin. His vision was for a new live service multiplayer first-person shooter that could capitalise on an already competitive shooter space. There was very low expectations for the game when the first trailer launched. Many people on YouTube criticised it for lack of innovation and originality, which Ubisoft games in general received for being too similar. Mark and his team, however, had one ace up their sleeve. They announced that Xdefient would not have skill-based matchmaking in their regular playlists, which was unique considering that the best-selling shooter franchise Call of Duty has skill-based matchmaking since Modern Warfare 2019. The issue with skill-based matchmaking is a hot topic. In layman's terms, matches would try to put the player up against opponents of similar skill based on how they performed in a match, even dictating the weapons used and the KD ratio and rank. Essentially what this means is that matches became sweaty and could be, in theory, a frustrating experience. Xdefient wanted to return to the days of the old school shooters from the 2000s, where casual matches were more enjoyable, which Xdefient played their cards on. In my opinion, skill-based matchmaking makes no difference, as I went back and played the old Call of Duties recently, and matches were very sweaty. This idea of skill-based matchmaking is set to increase player retention and to spend money on microtransactions and battle passes. Xdefient promised to have maps and operators based on existing Ubisoft franchises, such as The Division, Far Cry, Splinter Cell, Watch Dogs, and Ghost Recon. The issue with the operators was that these characters were generic and there was no vast Jason Brody, Sam Fisher, or characters from Assassin's Creed like Ezio, which is Ubisoft's biggest franchise. This was a big blunder for the game. Mark Rubin is a likeable guy, and he is very dedicated and passionate on Twitter, but that was his downside also. The man spent so much time on Twitter speaking about Xdefient as people became annoyed, and Xdefient was getting delayed again and again. He would say the game was ready, but then retracted and had to explain that the game needed more time. Fair enough, but as Miyamoto once said, a rush game is always bad, a delayed game is often good. But for Xdefient, this was still not ready. The ever-presence of YouTubers that were hyping up Xdefient as the so-called Call of Duty killer was prevalent. Such YouTubers like Jack Frags, Decoy, and Your Cinema all made various videos hyping up Xdefient as the saviour of gaming. The Call of Duty would be dead. That Xdefient was the wake-up call to the shooter genre. Your Cinema, in particular, who started his channel on Call of Duty, who is now known to hate on Call of Duty nowadays, started creating content based on Xdefient. First playtest. The first open beta that was available didn't leave a good impression on me, personally. I praised the graphics as the Snowdrop engine is quite striking, but the netcode was terrible. The hits registration was the first thing I noticed. Dying around corners was very annoying. Time to kill was a little too high, which was a frustrating experience. The shotgun was completely useless, even at close range. My shot wouldn't register, only for me to get killed. The map design, while good, and had some good flow, but it felt very unoriginal. The operators were interesting, but the Phantom operator was nice to deal with a shield bubble. And of course, the one operator that everyone hates is the Watch Dogs operator with the spider bot, which is very annoying. My favourite faction was the Echelon faction from Splinter Cell, and their ultimate had a wall hack with a Sam Fisher pistol, which was satisfying to use. The shooting mechanics are serviceable, but still need fine-tuning. The movement is very fast. The lack of prone I don't mind as it prevented camping. In fact, I had no campers in any match that I played, so that was welcomed. But the problem with a new shooter is the ultimate question I asked myself: will I be playing this for a long time? My question was a hard no. Even though COD is my main shooter, I've often played other shooters to take a break, like Rainbow Six Siege, Halo, Insurgency Sandstorm, and Hell Let Loose. They are very tight, responsive, and fun games. Xdefient needs a lot of work to convince me otherwise. The YouTubers, on the other hand, gave their opinions, and many were positive towards the beta, but bear in mind, these are the same YouTubers that want Call of Duty to die. These are the same people that said Battlefield Remastered was going to kill Battlefield, and in time Battlefield only had 200 players on Steam in the end. So again, we had more waiting and delays. And according to Game Rant last year, they said Ubisoft worked on fixing the game's bugs for roughly 3 to 4 weeks, according to Mark Rubin. The company will submit Xdefient for certification in 1 to 2 weeks. If Xdefient passes its certification, the game's release will be scheduled for mid to late September 2023. However, Xdefient could potentially receive a conditional pass, which would require Ubisoft to develop a day one patch and delay the release to early mid-October in 2023 instead. And of course, Mark Rubin was unable to reveal an exact release date. And so the gaming community waited and waited. Videos were made predicted when the final release would happen, but as 2023 ended, there was still no sign of Xdefient, with no response to Mark Rubin. Things were not looking good at this stage. The launch day. There was promises that Xdefient would launch early 2024, but there was more delays, and Mark said they would win gold on Twitter, but still had to iron out issues. It wasn't until May 21st, 2024 that Xdefient officially went live. That was, of course, when the game didn't work on day one. The servers were too full, and the players couldn't get a match. It was very disappointing. I had very low expectations going into the final release of the game, and this was getting messy. My friends and I partied up, and in the end we decided to wait a few days until the servers were fixed. Once the servers were stable, we played our first few matches, and I wasn't pleased. The netcode was still the same as the beta, and it was very frustrating to play. I praised the file size of the game being only 30 gigabytes, and the other maps were pretty solid, but gameplay wasn't the best experience. Dying around corners and being killed first after emptying an entire clip into someone was painful. I also noticed something interesting. What was it, you ask? Yes, the game's regular playlist was very sweaty and frustrating to play. The game's entire marketing ploy was that the game wouldn't have skill-based matchmaking, which I believe was false advertising. I didn't have a casual experience that so many YouTubers promised this game would have. There were other annoying issues that plagued the game. The bunny hopping was very prevalent, making it hard to shoot opponents. The snipers were too strong with no flinch penalty. The spider bot was very OP, and the trick to destroy it was to aim with your own feet and shoot it. The escort maps were like a poor man's Overwatch, and I found that the respawn time took too long, and the fact it took too long to run back into the action. The game's been out for some time with 2 seasons of content now, new battle passes, new weapons and maps, game modes and new challenges and unique canvas to grind for. However, the battle passes are left to be desired. They're very unoriginal and not very engaging. It wouldn't make me go out and buy a battle pass. And yet, despite the controversy that Ubisoft is in relation to Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft Montreal have promised a Season 3 and Season 4 for Xdefient. With the impending release of Black Ops 6 coming on October 25th, will players stick around with Xdefient? Only time will tell. Even with the latest updates, Xdefient still has its netcode issues, and this is a massive problem going forward. Ubisoft needs to address this, as Xdefient isn't the worst shooter. To be fair, it can be enjoyable at times, but dying around corners and shots not registering is frustrating. If Ubisoft can fix these issues, Xdefient might have a chance of being enjoyed in the FPS market. Being a free-to-play live service title has its perks. It's a very low barrier to entry. It does have an optional battle pass, and also if you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, you get access to the battle pass as part of a set subscription. However, Black Ops 6 is coming day one to Game Pass, which will bring in a huge number of players, which could take away players from Xdefient's player base, but again, time will tell. So with that being said, I'm sure you the viewers have your own opinions. Do you prefer Xdefiant to Call of Duty, or do you feel Xdefiient has a doomed future? Feel free to let me know. What are your favourite factions and maps, and what you hope to see going forward in future updates, be it weapons, maps, modes or cosmetics. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, a like will go a long way, and subscribe to get more content, and hit the notification when my videos go live. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.